Welcome back to Euronews Tonight and over to theCUBE, our social media news desk. And where better to be for a story about social media manipulation. It's a report by the Oxford Internet Institute and its headline finding is pretty shocking. Look at this. They're saying here, organised social media misinformation campaigns now present in 70 countries around the world. Comparing that to 2017, they're saying that is more than double. The number then was 28. I pull up the regimes which you might expect, regimes that have been accused of being authoritarian or categorized as such by the researchers here at Oxford University. You've got some of the key ones there: Iran, Sudan, but look at this, Russia there too, China here just next to Cambodia. China particularly interesting because previously this report saying much of their efforts were focused domestically, but after the Hong Kong protests, a lot of this attention turning outwards in an attempt to portray the demonstrators there as violent thugs as opposed to reformist campaigners. Now, when we're talking about the tools used, three techniques that these authoritarian regimes are using. One is to suppress, that is to try and limit your opponent's point of view. The other one there, to discredit it, that is to share information that in some way makes facts or your opponents look incorrect and wrong in the case of your opponents. And on the bottom there, to drown out. That is simply by flooding a particular platform with information so people cannot tell the difference between what is real and what is fake. Those are three tools in the armory there, but lots to unpick here because 45 democracies are also listed in the rankings. And for Mark Scott, he's saying that is significant. Talking about these democracies, the report refers to individual political actors or parties accused of leveraging techniques to spread their narrative, to diminish their opponents, and overall to present this misinformation called online propaganda. Let's just bring you an overview of the kind of key tools used. We've seen three of them there, but there's also this concept of cyber troops. Now, you're probably not familiar with that kind of terminology. It's referring to government agencies, state agencies, or private companies wanting to engage in this kind of coordinated, inauthentic behavior, as the internet giants would call it. Now, some of the techniques you're seeing there to try and drown out or discredit your opponents, that is their aim. But look at the bottom here. Facebook still, it is the platform of choice. The majority of this information still taking place on Facebook. Now, Facebook's saying they've done a great deal to try and combat misinformation, but still here being listed. Worth saying, Twitter also mentioned as a platform where a lot of disinformation is spread. Facebook here, though, it's not going to be a good look for them there. Just bringing you some of the other thoughts from this. When we're looking at the Russian disinformation campaigns, that I suppose has got the most attention after the 2016 allegations of election meddling. But now, some of the terminology of this report, really interesting, talking about China as a new misinformation superpower. A lot of people speculating as to whether this will now close down if things in Hong Kong could quieten down, or whether we are now seeing China joining the likes of Russia in its desire to control narratives on international social media. So an awful lot to unpick from that report. The top line being, though, that they're saying online propaganda directed at you and me to influence our opinion, more than doubling in the amount in the last 2 years.